Hi everyone, a very good afternoon. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Mubina Kapasi. Markets, well, we are just about flattish right now in trade, given up the little bit of gains that we saw in the middle of the day. But here's an ET now exclusive. The Commerce Ministry has notified a notification which essentially imposes anti-dumping duties on CPVC resins as well as compounds. What exactly are they? Well, they essentially resin is converted into compounds, which essentially is used by Finolex Industries, by Prince Pipes, by Astral to make CPVC pipes. Now, incidentally, there's only one company in India that manufactures CPVC, and that is DCW Limited. On account of the constant dumping of the CPVC resin and compounds from China and South Korea at extremely low rates, we did essentially see that companies that were located at, the coasts would simply import the CPVC at extremely low rates from China and South Korea. However, DCW went across to the DGTR, that's the Directorate General of Trade, and asked them for a provisional duty that should be imposed, which was imposed in approximately August 2018. A 10% duty was imposed. And subsequently, just in fact today is when the DGTR, or the Commerce Ministry simply speaking, has notified an anti-dumping duty. So there's a benchmark price that has been set, $2,087. That's roughly where it starts at. Depending on the company, depending on the country as well of import, the benchmark price changes. So if these countries or these companies essentially send CPVC at a price lower than that benchmark rate, then they will be charged that differential duty. DCW is the company we want to talk about. 350 crore market cap, a little smallish in size, of course, comparatively. But look at the rally, 15% rally. Like I mentioned, DCW is the only company in India that manufactures CPVC. It has roughly a 12,000 ton capacity plant that it had set up in 2017. But the plant, of course, was not doing very well simply because China and South Korea were dumping CPVC at extremely low prices in India. Stock reaction seen over there on DCW, it's 14% higher. Of course, it may be to the detriment of Astral, Poly and Finolex Industries that may have been sourcing this at lower rates from China and South Korea. So we'll be keeping our eye out on both of these companies. We'll also try and connect with the management of Astral, Prince Pipes as well for that matter, and see if they have any comments to make on this story. Well, let's kickstart Market Fatafat as well then and bring on board our technical guest for today. Kunal Rambi of The Streets joins in on the show, and we also do have Soumya and Vinny from the research desk joining in. Afternoon, everyone. Kunal, let me start off with you first. Lots of momentum and pricing action seen in an Apollo Tyres. What is your recommendation on this one?
Yeah, hi. What we saw in the Tyre stock is today the momentum picking up. If you look at the entire structure, the stock was clearly in downtrend. Somewhere in the August 2019 stock made a bottom of 145 and it bounced to around 200 levels, and it's again taken the support at the same level. So if someone wants to go long on the counter, that's looking pretty attractive. Keep the stop loss of 150 and expect the target of 175, 180. I think this is a decent bottom formation and risk reward is extremely great.
Apollo Tyres for you, a massive surge seen over here. It's 5% higher today in trade, 158. That's Kunal's recommendation. All right, and meantime, Soumya, another ET now impact is being witnessed in Bandhan Bank. We spoke to the management earlier, and post that there was a sharp spike in the stock. What did the management have to say?
Well, yes, that's right, Mubina. In fact, giving you a little context, for the last 3 days, the stock has been on a falling spree owing to all the concerns in the northeastern states that is potentially impacting the business. In fact, on back of this, we did speak to the management on what amount of impact is actually they're feeling. So they did say that the business growth in Q3 has been good. Bank's collection efficiency has improved across the country. In fact, in Assam also, there was an improvement in the collection efficiency from 92.97% to 93.57%. So they are seeing good growth in the new loans as well. And in fact, all of this has been a trigger in the up move for the stock today. The stock currently, as we speak, it's gaining close to about 2% on back of this really optimistic and good commentary by the management.
Okay, 421 rupees. In fact, it was higher by 3% as soon as when the management was speaking to ET. Now it's ebbed off a tad bit from there, and that's where the stock is currently trading. The other big newsmaker, of course, is the combination of Axis and Max. Vinny, what sort of a deal is, the street anticipating? What's the latest here?
So Mubina, according to reports, suggesting us that Axis Bank is, set to pick up around 20% stake in the Max Max Life. So that is a group of Max Group. So all the stocks of Max Group are in focus. Now this proposed deal is aimed to building a strategic as well as long-term relationship with Axis Bank. And currently, if we see that Axis Bank holds around 2% stake in Max Life. So this deal is they're supposed to invest around 2,000 crores in the company. And today, Max Life Insurance, Max Financial Services, or the whole board is the group as a whole is supposed to meet and decide on the nitty-gritties of the deal. And let's see how that actually works out. When will the deal take place? So this is some of the factors things that we'll be watching out for once it's actually finalized, and when is it going to take place is an important step. So we'll closely watch out for this deal as well.
All right, Max Financial 10% higher today in trade. We'll definitely be watching out very closely for when this deal does come about. Okay, Kunal, meantime, Biocon, again, another big mover in trade. Okay, but before we do that, let's just take a look at the flashes appearing on your screens. Bit by bit, but the payments are definitely coming in from the telecom companies, and more specifically, I would like to talk about Vodafone Idea, because, the street obviously was casting aspersions on Vodafone's ability to make a full and final payment without, putting itself into bankruptcy. So it's a 1,000 crore rupee payment made to the DOT towards statutory dues as per agencies. Like I said, bit by bit, step by step, it's still got a long way to go, obviously, with the principal amount plus the interest and penalties. But yeah, that's of course the latest Vodafone Idea. 1,000 crore rupees, and after that mammoth rally witnessed today as well, we're seeing a nice uptick come by. But again, like we've been flagging off, it's an F&O stock, 4 rupee stock. Obviously, you have your traders scouting opportunities constantly in this counter. Okay, meantime, like I was flagging off before I address that news, Biocon Limited. Kunal, look at the pricing action here. It's managed to claw back above 300. It's staying over there now, 3.3% higher. Where do you see it go from here?
So again, if you look at the Biocon right from October bottom, that's around 220 level. The stock is clearly making higher top higher bottom formation, and the formation is ongoing. So I think the momentum is likely to continue to 340, which seems to be the decisive resistance where the previous stop was made. I think keep the stop loss of 300. One can think of going on a long decline. Target of 340 seems very likely.
All right, so that's of course Biocon for you, and a recommendation from Kunal. Let's move on and talk about Indiabulls Housing Finance. Soumya, big news coming in over here. In fact, we at ET now managed to get the first reaction from the management as well. Tell us the news, and of course, what did the management have to say?
Mubina, this is a big respite for Indiabulls. In fact, the MCA probe has found no major irregularities in Indiabulls deals. In fact, the loans given by them to DLF, AmeriCorp and Reliance ADAG have all been repaid, while those given to Vatika Group and Chodia Group are standard accounts. So definitely this is a big positive when it comes to Indiabulls Housing Finance, and the sharp up move that we're seeing is on back of this development. In fact, we did manage to speak with the management, who said that they've always maintained that all businesses were in line with regulations. It is business as usual, and they have reinvented their business model. Things are getting back to normal, and they're now focusing on their strategies and expansion going forward. In fact, they did also mention that they did saw some amount of impact on fundraising due to these ongoing probes, and from here on things might improve with no irregularities found in the probe. Having said that, we did speak to management a few weeks back post results, when they did manage to say that they're expecting a profit growth of around mid to high teens, and also an AUM growth of around 20%. So given all of this, I think right now Indiabulls is poised for a good growth, and they're coming back on track, and they're focusing on their core business as well.
Well, yeah, hopefully it'll be business as usual again for IB Housing as they shift their gaze away from, the judicial issues and, try and concentrate on growing the business. 12% higher, 342 for an IB Housing. IB Realty obviously as well is gaining in tandem. Okay, and Vinny, Ajanta Pharma, what exactly is the latest over here? What's causing this big run-up of 5.8% today?
So Mubina, not specifically only the brokerage note that we are seeing here today is Edelweiss. Now they have initiated a buy on the stock and are giving a target of around 1,600 per share. So what are the factors that they are so positive about? Now the branded play, is they expected to lead the way for the company. They think that this is surely adding a lot of visibility and sustainability in the earnings growth of the company. Also, they expect that the US and India will steer a lot of operating leverages for them. So this is quite positive for the company, as well as let's not forget that Ajanta Pharma is got one of the best margin profiles in the pharma space. So surely that is also adding to the company's positivity and the up move of the stock. Also, a key positive is that they have de-risked their business model, which is very, very positive for the company, as well as Edelweiss believes that there's a bright prospect with conclusion of the capex and decline in institutional anti-malaria business. So that is quite positive, and that's why they have initiated a buy. Also, I think investors are quite happy with the overall performance of the company and buying into the stock today, and that's why I think we're seeing a good rally also today.
Okay, yeah, big surge seen in Ajanta Pharma, making its way towards that 1400 rupee mark, just a tad bit ebbed off from those levels. Okay, and Kunal, lots of volatility seen in an Escorts Limited. It's tanked by almost 4%. What would be your technical observations?
So, Mubina, if you look at the entire rally in the recent past, the counter surged significantly. And today there are some rumors on the market, and the reason the markets are taking it a bit negatively. If the closing of the day comes near to low, that's around say 760, 860 kind of levels, then I think the stock is heading for 750, 760 kind of levels. I would advise go short on the counter, keep the stop loss of days high, wait for the closing. If the closing is near to low, I think we'll have more confirmation.
Okay, a bit of a bounce, of course, from those lower levels for Escorts, now at 873 rupees. Well, we'll do one thing, slip into a very short break on Market Fatafat, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back to flag off more movers and shakers when we return. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now. We are just a bit quietish in trade, but interestingly, it's the Nifty Bank today that's really posting that big bout of outperformance, triple-digit gain seen over there. Just want to pull up the Nifty Bank very quickly for our viewers to see the kind of outperformance. Do you remember that the Nifty Bank was actually lagging the benchmarks for the most part? In fact, it was the reason why the Nifty and the Sensex were really not being able to go a bit higher in trade. But look at that. Lots of resilience today in this counter, 0.6% higher, 170 points of gains. Well, let's move on and talk about more stocks in news. Soumya Thomas Cook locked in upper circuit, right from the early hours of trade. What's the reason?
Well, this company is actually considering buyback plan on February 26th in the board meeting. In fact, what we learned is that the primary objective of this buyback is in order to arrest the fall in the value of the stock by reducing the supply of the stock. And from here on, they might actually see some amount of better PE multiples for the stock. Having said that, in the last 2 months, the stock has actually lost more than 40%, and this is very, very concerning when it comes to Thomas Cook. So now with this, we're seeing some amount of cheer coming in the stock prices, and the investors are also kind of rewarding the stock with gains of around 20% today.
Well, 40% drop in the last 2 months, and it's been a 70% drop in the last 6 months. So yes, Thomas Cook has certainly been through tough times, hence this measure seems to be working, at least today. Stock is locked in upper circuit, 20% of gains. Okay, Vinny, why is Infibeam on your radar?
So Mubina, Infibeam has expanded its horizon and forayed into the digital payment business in the US. Now they already have the business in India, UAE as well as Saudi Arabia. They do have certain clients in US, but they never had a proper business over there in US. So they used to work out of India and other countries for the US clients as well. So now finally foraying into US is a very big positive for the company, and their platforms expanding is a positive, and that's why we are seeing a nice up move in the stock as well, Mubina, today.
Yeah, 2% of gains for an Infibeam. Kunal, FMCG stocks, I think we can't keep our eye out of those ones, because regardless of the price equity that they're trading at, there seems to be this unstoppable move of sorts. Today, of course, it's a bit of a quiet day for stocks like HUL, but what's your view on what could be a profitable trading strategy that could be implemented here?
Right, what you're saying is very true. These are the counters which are clearly making higher top commissions, irrespective of how the markets are behaving. But as of now, looking at the price, I think somewhere HUS seems to be saturated. A very short-term trade would be to look at the short side of it because the stock is near to all-time high again. So I would say that sell below 2220. Keep the stop loss of the high, that's 2300, and expect the counter to come down by say at least 120 to 150 points. Just because that's a negative divergence on the daily chart, but otherwise solid formation.
Okay, so that's Kunal's recommendation on HUL. Currently, it's at about 22.59. Now, Soumya, Muthoot Finance, I mean, what can you say about this stock that's been on an unstoppable rally? Third quarter numbers as well is something that the street was extremely pleased with. What's begetting this 4.5% rally in today's trading session now?
Mubina, talking about this one, as per the recent ET reports, the company is actually eyeing $550 million of bond sale to global investors, and that's why they're actually looking to raise funds from the markets, global markets. And having said that, they're actually looking at this fundraising in order to expand their gold loan business. Well, the surging gold prices have definitely strengthened the financials of the business, and it will actually help them also gain investor confidence. In fact, lately when we did speak to the management, they did say that they're actually eyeing at least of 15% growth in the gold loan business. In Q3, they reported a gold loan growth of around 7.5%. So definitely doubling is what we're seeing going ahead, and this is where Muthoot Finance is placed. So it's in a very bullish territory and is actually gaining a lot of investor confidence as well.
All right, 914 for a Muthoot Finance, certainly a great mover, recently, especially among the other names in the mid-cap space. Vinny, Sterlite Tech, what's the latest news around here?
So Mubina, if you see, in the morning, Sterlite Tech, the stock had, taken a sharp rally. It was up by around 7%, and this is mainly on the back of, they're winning a 1,500 crore new order booking for the company. Now we are seeing the gains obviously come off a bit, and the stock is at around up only 2-3%. But this is a very positive sign for Sterlite Tech, as well as the drivers of the contract are majorly from the European telecom players, and this business growth will range from rural connectivity to the new age network. So that is quite positive for Sterlite Tech, and we saw a nice up move in the morning, though right now the stock is up only 3%, but still a good move for Sterlite Tech.
Yeah, 2.7% higher, 148 rupees is where the company is trading at. Kunal, a quick word on PSUs, because those have really been the cynosure of all eyes. Not great performers for sure. Today, not a different day. 1.4% gone for an IOC at the day's low. Your recommendation?
No, the value for the market right now is, I think, really scared. We are waiting for some kind of announcement also. But on the formation front, I think IOC has not performed anything great. It's near to the multiple support zone, which is 111, but presently it's trading at 112. I would avoid this counter for time being. Let's revisit the counter probably once it makes a decisive bottom near to mid and then first. But for time being, avoid the counter.
Okay, that's Kunal's recommendation on an IOC. But with that, we're out of time, so we'll wrap it up. Kunal, Soumya and Vinny, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Market Fatafat. Stay tuned, closing trades comes up next.